You are now tuned in to The Money Zone with your host, Folasade, the accountant for entrepreneurs. The time is now, your future waits, your money matters, make no mistake, it's not too late to dominate, so don't delay, get your money straight. The money zone, together we'll achieve your goals, we're building wealth, you're not alone, so don't delay, get your money straight.
Hey guys, welcome. It's your girl Folasade, the accountability accountant, guys. I am so excited to be here with you guys on this last Tuesday of October. Guys, if you haven't achieved your goals, you got about 4 more days to go. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, 4 more days to go to achieve those October goals, guys. So tonight we have a lot to unpack today, guys. We have a lot to unpack. So we're talking about 50 Cent's post about the Biden's tax plan, the $400,000, okay, his comments about the Biden tax plan. So then we're going to talk about how the election may disrupt business, okay? So it's a lot to talk about, guys. So if I were you, I would grab my pen and my paper, share the video, like it, tell your girlfriends Folasade Live, and she's giving the juice today. And then do me one favor. If you have not joined our mailing list, go to bit.ly/TMZ, all uppercase TMZ, get notified. Join our mailing list so you can find out about our guests, upcoming guests. You can get our freemiums and stuff that we'll start giving out throughout the shows as well. So guys, look, we're going into 2021, so we need to get you guys on the bandwidth and start joining the mailing list so you guys won't be surprised when we have some action-packed shows for you all. So do me one favor, share the video, grab your pen, grab your paper, tell your girlfriend Folasade talk about that 50 Cent stuff, and I'll be right back. We are live, guys. So, like I said, we have a lot to unpack today. Okay, so 50 Cent made a comment on his Instagram. Give me 1 second. And for all of you guys that are watching on other platforms outside of RedRadioNetwork.com, you may not be able to see my screen. So my apologies. But if you catch the replay, you will. Okay, so 50 Cent made a post 1 week ago that says, "What the F? Vote for Trump. I'm out. F New York. The Knicks never win anyway. Shrug shoulders. Don't care. Trump doesn't like black people. 62%. Are you out of your effing mind?" That was a lot. Okay. So that was a recent tweet from 50 Cent that had the internet going completely insane. And so we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to give you guys my unbiased opinion regarding this 50 Cent comment. Okay, you guys might be just a little surprised. But first things first, I can fully understand exactly where he's coming from because, guys, in recent videos that we've talked about, we briefly talked about the impact of increase in taxes. So number one, I am against increase in taxes, especially right now. Yes, Biden's plan is targeting individuals that make over $400,000. But I feel as though right now the African-American community is on a surge of building generational wealth. And this tax plan that says, okay, if you make more than $400,000, I'm going to tax you like crazy. Okay. And so this, honestly, the Biden plan can now hinder or basically stunt some entrepreneurs' potential because from the Black community, speaking from experience myself, right? From the Black community, speaking from experience myself, when I hear taxes, right? I get afraid. Like, even as an enrolled agent, almost CPA and everything else, I cringe. Like, when I see the amount of taxes, okay, my clients pay, I cringe. And so, like, honestly, newbie entrepreneurs may be completely discouraged in reaching their fullest potential and possibly reaching to make millions of dollars due to this tax plan. So the first thing I need all of my entrepreneurs to do is to, first of all, understand that as a wealthy individual, you have to now shift your mindset. Okay? 50 Cent, no, he has lawyers and attorneys. He know they are maximizing his tax deductions, and he's not saying that, but you guys have to do the same thing. So if you know you're on the peak where this Biden tax plan, if he was to get elected and they were to approve his legislation for his tax plan, the impact of it, then right off the bat, if you don't have an accountant right now, you definitely need to hire one because 50 Cent, all the rich people in the world have a team of lawyers, a team of accountants, okay, that strategically sit around all day and figure out ways to reduce their taxes. So yes, the Biden tax plan will hurt individuals that make $400,000 or more. Yes, I agree. However, when you're reaching to that point, honestly, when you guys start to make six figures, you should stop doing TurboTax and stop trying to DIY your taxes on your own. At that point, the moment you make your first six figures, that's when you really need to start shifting your mindset, guys, and saying, okay, you know what? This tax game strategy stuff is a little bit more challenging than what I anticipated. Then let me go ahead and find myself an accountant. And at that point, then that's when it's up to your accountant's job to really maximize all of your tax deductions so you won't be posting on Instagram like 50 Cent telling people to vote for Trump when he's only concerned about the tax ramifications. Yes, I do not like an easy way to say you did something by increasing people's taxes. That's an easy way for any candidate to act like they doing something. And honestly, I feel as though, and this is just me, my unbiased opinion, the Democrats are playing mindset tricks on us because they already know that the poor people hate rich people, and they already know that Black people are at the bottom of the totem pole in terms of economics, and he knows that he's going to get our attention if he say he's going to raise the taxes of the rich, because immediately, if you're in the lower bracket, you may be thinking, okay, well, I might get my food stamps, I might get this, I might get that, I might get this. Whereas if a person say, you know what, I'm going to give the rich tax benefits, instantly we're thinking that our benefits, everything else may start going down. But the problem that many of us don't understand is how taxes impact the overall economy and why the rich are against it. So me personally, what I would have preferred Biden to do is not to increase the taxes on your earned income. Okay, so there's a difference between taxes on the money that you work and taxes on the investments that you make. So Senator Warren and Senator Sanders had presented a wealth tax. Personally, I feel as though the wealth tax will do much better, because then guess what? Our new African-American entrepreneurs that just made their first million won't get hit crazy with 60% taxes. It will only be the people that is hoarding wealth. Okay, so guys, on my screen, T Listed did an article. I'm just going to briefly read the article really quick, okay? Former rapper 50 Cent doesn't care if the case, and this is not my opinion, guys. If you're looking at the video on ripradionetwork.com, or if you're on our Facebook or Periscope, you guys want to go over there so you can see our screen. Go and go to Periscope and Facebook and type in ripradionetwork.com, and then you'll be able to see my screen. The article from T Listed says, former rapper 50 Cent doesn't care if the case is that Trump doesn't like Black people. As far as the rapper turned businessman is concerned, Biden's taxes are too high, and he is willing, seemingly, to suffer the wrath of racism against Black people over paying out a crap load in taxes yearly. 50 Cent is well known for his crazy smack talks, only to later say he was joking. This is long known as one of his tactics in drawing attention to his brand, and social media always falls for it. But this latest comment in 50 Cent's support in 50 Cent being in support of Trump due to Biden's high taxes may just be some serious talk to the voting poll by the rapper. If there is one thing I learned about rich people, and that is they hate any sort of spike in taxes that will pull serious dough out their pockets. 50 Cent is no different than the everyday wealthy celebrity. 50 Cent is worried of a Biden 62% tax proposal on the rich, essentially to help the less fortunate and, of course, the government. Okay, so that's T Listed article about it. Alrighty. So here is one of the bigger problems that we have, is that the rich, the way that they're trying to execute this Biden tax plan, it's not going to hit the rich. It's going to hit the middle class, the you, the me, your neighbor, the one that's been building their business over time. And oh my goodness, as a blink of an eye, next year, 2021, 2022, you'd have made $400,000. That's who it's going to hit. And the reason being is because they're trying to implement taxes on the income that you guys has earned. So that's your W-2 from your 9 to 5. That's from your small business if you are a sole proprietor. That's if you are an independent contractor. That's if you own an S Corp and you're on W-2. However, the rich is getting paid in capital gains. Okay, they're getting passive income. Okay. And so what does that mean? That this $400,000 income tax on earned income is not even going to hit the people that it's intended for. It's going to hit the newly rich Black folks that's coming up in 2021. The newly rich entrepreneurs, regardless of the color of your skin, that's coming up in 2021. And I honestly feel as though, from an account perspective, many of you are going to cringe and not push it to the limit when you get hit with that hard tax bill. And I've seen this happen where a client make their first $250,000 and they wasn't anticipating the taxes because they wasn't planning. They didn't hire their accountant. They didn't have the lawyer like 50 Cent. They didn't have those things in place, right? So they come to me without doing everything that I just said that you guys need to do. Make sure you're tracking your income and you have somebody you work with. They didn't do anything. So guess what? We filed the taxes and they owe $70,000. Till this day, y'all, they are still running from the IRS from that same $70,000. Never got the discipline or structure, which is the mindset shift that I need all of you to go through. Okay, as your business income is growing, your mindset is supposed to grow so you can get comfortable paying those high amounts of taxes. So what happened was, guess what? They started to self-sabotage themselves. So that is my fear. This is why I really don't care for this Biden tax plan. This is really not the time for him to be increasing taxes. If he really wanted to do something, then he will come up with creative ways for the government to start to gather and accumulate money outside of taxes. When are we going to now hold our politicians accountable to do other things besides keep saying they're doing something by increasing our taxes? And from an economic standpoint, it is true. If we give all of our money to the government, there is no exchange. The money, the moment the dollar leaves your pocket and it goes to IRS, yes, it goes to a community. Yes, it might go to your school. Yes, it might go somewhere else. However, it doesn't circulate. So it doesn't move the economy. So I do fully understand why the rich is really disagree with it and why they hate to pay more taxes in terms of the economics behind it, right? However, this is why they pay accountants like myself, okay? And so if you look at from past elections, the majority of every Democratic candidate always wanted to raise taxes on the wealthiest, okay? They fully believe that this is going to reduce inequality. It's going to also fund programs and everything else. But I feel as though if they shift it and takes Senator Warren and Senator Sanders' perspective and tax the wealth that they're generating, then we're going to reduce inequality. Right now, just imposing a flat amount of tax or a certain amount of tax burden on people that make $400,000 or more, that's going to hit everybody. We want to hit the wealthy, and the wealthy is the one that have generational wealth. But then think about it. How many of you on Instagram, Facebook, and every one of you see all your friends moving towards generational wealth, trying to save, trying to get it together? And honestly, the only way you guys can really do that and be able to effectively build generational wealth if you get control over your taxes. So rather than posting a meme like 50 Cent, complaining about the Biden tax plan, start to hire yourself an accountant. Start to track your expenses. Start to do what you are able to do so you can protect your wealth from, see, this is the thing. They're not, we're right now, the rich is trying to protect their wealth from taxes. Everyday folks is trying to protect their income. There's a total difference, okay? So what if Biden was really about the business, if Biden was really about the people, then he will start to tax their wealth, not the income that they earn, because the majority of them don't even earn any income. They're getting paid in stock options. See, that's the problem. They're getting paid through life insurance policies and and K1s from 50 different partnerships with passive income. They're not receiving earned income like you and me and the everyday person that you sit beside. So yes, the Biden plan is ridiculous because there's no specificities. He's just tackling anybody that make a certain amount of money above 400,000, and that's not fair. That is not going to reduce racial inequality, economic inequality. The way to reduce economic inequality is to start taxing their wealth, start taxing the capital gains, start taxing the things that they transfer over from generations to generations into generations. When we start to tap and start taxing their generational wealth, then the everyday people won't get hit. Because your family member that you see grinding right now can sure as hell make $400,000 next year and sitting looking at you cringing because now they didn't prepare themselves for this and they don't know what to do. They owe hundreds of thousands of dollars and don't know what to do. So to prevent that from happening, pay attention to your income, track it effectively. You guys, you have to do your bookkeeping. You have to do your bookkeeping. So let me go and look at one more thing really quick. Give me 1 second. I'm going to show you guys this 2-minute video before we go to break. Really quick. This 2-minute video so you guys can have kind of an understanding about taxes and wealth a little bit. So just give me 1 second. Let me go to the video link and then I will be sharing my screen. Is this one it? Yes. This video we're about to watch, guys, talks about taxing the rich. Okay. And so the reason why I'm also opposed is because many of you are going to be rich. And I think that's what a lot of you don't understand is that this is you soon. This is so very soon that if you don't really accept your reality and understand that you can't pay small forever. Let's see if you guys can hear this.
Several Democratic presidential candidates propose to raise taxes on the rich. They argue that the people who have done well in recent years should bear the burden of the cost of expanding programs that would help the rest of the population. They'd also use the tax code to reduce inequality more aggressively than today's tax code does. And they say that if the budget deficit is a problem, well-off folks ought to pay more taxes to shrink it. Opponents say the rich already pay their fair share of taxes and warn that raising taxes will have unwelcome side effects, such as less investment and slower economic growth. Let's start with some definitions. What do we mean when we talk about rich America? About 9% of the households in the U.S. have incomes greater than $200,000, and they get almost 45% of all pre-tax income. Then there are the really rich. 0.4% of the households in the U.S., about 700,000 in all, have incomes above $1 million a year. That 0.4, they get 13% of all pre-tax income. Since the early 1980s, those at the very top have enjoyed faster growing incomes than the rest of us. The rich generally do pay more of their income in taxes than other Americans do. The top 1% got 16% of the income and paid 25% of the taxes. Factor in government benefits like Social Security and food stamps and the like, which help lower income folks more than those at the top, and the rich still are doing better. The after-tax and benefits income of the top 1% rose by 226% between 1979 and 2016, nearly 5 times faster than the incomes of people in the middle. So, if we wanted to raise taxes on the rich, how might we do it? We lay out some options in our voter vitals. One might increase income taxes on the upper income people or make higher wage workers pay more in Social Security payroll taxes. But the freshest idea in the debate is the wealth tax. Now, wealth is different than income. Income is what you earn from your labor each year, as well as interest, dividends, and capital gains. Wealth is the value of the things you own: stocks, bonds, house, yachts. The federal government generally taxes income, but doesn't tax wealth, except when you sell an asset, such as a share of stock. The Federal Reserve estimates that the top 1% holds slightly more wealth than the entire bottom 90% of the population, and their share has been rising over time. Senator Elizabeth Warren, the Massachusetts Democrat who's running for president, would impose a 2% annual tax on households with a net worth of more than $50 million and a 3% tax on every dollar of net worth over $1 billion. So a family worth $60 million would owe $200,000 in wealth taxes on top of their income taxes. The developers of this tax, economists Emmanuel Saez and Gabriel Zuckman of the University of California at Berkeley, estimate that only 75,000 households would pay this tax. Advocates say a wealth tax would dilute the largest fortunes in the U.S. and restrain the emergence of a plutocracy. Of course, it could encourage the wealthy to dissipate their money, giving it to charity or giving it to their children to avoid the tax. But even so, it could still raise a lot of money. Saez and Zuckman say it could yield $2.75 trillion over 10 years. Critics, including former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers, say that's a substantial overestimate. Opponents of the wealth tax say it could discourage or penalize the most successful entrepreneurs, not just hit old money. And they note that these sorts of taxes are very hard to administer. The IRS would have to value art collections and antiques, for instance, and they could spur creative tax avoidance. Now, back in 1990, a dozen developed countries had wealth taxes, but because they're so hard to administer, only 3 do today: Norway, Spain, and Switzerland. Presidential campaigns are full of fiery rhetoric and bold promises, but they're also an occasion to highlight big problems and examine various solutions. The wealth tax is one example. To learn more about this and other issues, check out our voter vitals at brookings.edu/pop.
Okay, guys, so I just wanted to show you that video so you guys can have an understanding of the difference and kind of have a background and kind of an idea as to why the wealth tax will be better. It's not, and then I'll close out and then go to take a break and then go to segment 2. The reason why I like 50 Cent's comment, it is bogus, y'all. How are we supposed to work for $1 million and then we only keep 400,000? That's crazy. Like, we shouldn't have to do any creative things. So so I honestly feel like that I wish you guys were just behind the scenes just now, which is crazy. Okay, so honestly, I feel as though they need to just tax the wealth, because if they're trying to reduce economic inequality and all of that stuff, then the way that we're unequal is through the wealth that we've been able to accumulate. So it's not that we don't have the ability to earn the same. We have the capabilities of earning the same, but it will take us, it's almost impossible for the African-American community to ever get to the wealth level that the Caucasian community have. It's impossible. They said studies show, and I can pull up one study really quick and then I'm going to take a break. A study from CPBB said that it's going to take the Latino community 2,000 years to accumulate the amount of wealth as a Caucasian community, and it's almost impossible for the Black community to even get close to that. And so right now, taxing the richest wealth is a better positioning, and it helps reduce inequality, because guess what? It allows us those years to start accumulating wealth. And then eventually, yes, we will have to deal with the wealth tax after a few generations, but they're already ahead of the game. Like maybe 6 or 7, maybe even 10 generations ahead of us. That's what 10, 20, 30, that's 100 years. Maybe like 20 generations ahead of us. So honestly, the wealth tax is the best approach. If Biden trying to really do anything, he needs to definitely take Senator Warren's and Sanders' plan. Tax the rich, the wealth tax. The IRS already have their hands in everything. They can easily start to do appraisals on art and all of that stuff. It is what it is. Or have the accountant do the appraisal, orchestrate it. If the IRS don't think it's right, then they audit it just like they audit everything else they don't agree with, okay? So there's no excuse. And then honestly, them taxing and incorporating the wealth tax won't discourage entrepreneurs. I didn't agree with what the rich say. Oh, it's going to discourage entrepreneurs. No, what it's going to do is discourage the people that have been hoarding the wealth all of these years. The new entrepreneurs, we're kind of excited to have our foot in the game. So, you know, we're going to adjust. We're going to hire accountants like me because we're schooled now. So just give us the opportunity. Incorporate the wealth tax. 50 Cent, you was right. That plan is ridiculous. We work hard for the money. The government need to be a little bit more creative. And that's one thing I do agree with Trump. He is trying to figure out ways for us as a whole, as a U.S., as the country, to really get our jobs back. And that's what the Biden people need to do. They need to figure out ways to generate revenue outside of taxing us. Get our plants back. Get our oil, gold, all of that stuff. So guys, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back. So if you guys are just tuning in segment 1, we talked about the 50 cents comment on the Biden tax plan. And if you guys know that I'm a full-on liberal, I don't care what color your skin, what you like, whether or not you like black or white, whatever the case may be. If it hurts my people, if it just doesn't make sense, I'm not going to go with it. So I basically was like, yeah. But you guys want to check out the video on ripradionetwork.com. So guys, segment 2, the business owners are speaking. Who really controls the world? As much as we want to say who really controls the U.S., as much as we want to say the government controls the U.S., guys, it's not. It's the big boys in the suits that control how the market flow and the big businesses. This is why they have the lobbyists and pay so much money to get their policies and their laws introduced and passed. So the big boys in these big companies are the ones that are furious right now, guys. And they're like, you know what? If we don't get some control, some order and some organization during this election. If your vote, my vote, and their vote don't count, if the votes are not counted on time, then we have a problem, Roger. They feel as though it's going to be a major, the election is going to be a major disruption to business, guys. So we're about to dive right on in. So the first source that I'm going to show you guys is, first of all, the statement that the several big businesses ended up signing. And I'm about to share my screen. Let me go to the press release first, and then I'll tell you who signed. And so if you don't know what's happening, you know, right now, mailboxes are being burnt, polling locations, ballot locations, collection stations are being destroyed. There is just so much uncertainty right now with the American people in terms of our vote counting. And so our top entrepreneurs band together, and this did a press release and said business leaders from finance, technology, retail, and hospitality call for, and my sister said the words, I can never say it, civility, I can never say it right, and patience ahead of the 2020 election. She probably laughing, y'all, if she watching the show. So in partnership with the Leadership Now Project, more than 50 of our nation business leaders released a statement. America has held successful elections amid crisis before we can and must do so again, which underscores the importance of maintaining confidence in an election held during an unprecedented health crisis. Signatories include Greylock partner and LinkedIn co-founder and Yahoo CEO and Harvard Business School professor. The list goes on, y'all. Basically said, you know what? They're tired of this mess. It says, with an unprecedented number of Americans voting by mail because of the pandemic, officials have consistently stressed that we may not know the outcomes on election night. And if you guys remember, Trump keeps saying that the election is rigged if we don't know who the president is going to be by election night. Y'all, have y'all seen that? I wish I would have found that video. I need to step in my video game for y'all. But I tried this week. I'll make sure I have those little type videos. So that's what Trump been saying on the streets, y'all. If the numbers aren't in by 11:59 p.m., then the election is rigged. So these business owners was like, hold on. Yes, we may not know the outcome of the election on the election night. However, in previous times, the results have come in at a later date. So guess what? This still is a legitimate election. So the article says it could take days, weeks, or more until the results are confirmed. In light of this, the signatories of the nonpartisan statement are calling for patience until every vote is counted, making it clear that they will refuse to accept any results called too early or based on insufficient data. So you know how that fake news, right? They're also now requiring media. So it also says the media must take caution, Fox 5, to use its voice responsibly and avoid calling the election before sufficient data are available. So that's what's happening. So let me explain to you why these business leaders are coming together in a sense like this, and when they come together like this, y'all, we have problems. So many of you don't know that the stability of the U.S. economy is based on your perception, my perception, right? How confident are we in the American ecosystem? Do we feel as though we're going to add more jobs? Are we going to have increased growing businesses? Are we going to be able to reduce our trade tariffs from other countries? Are we going to be able to get imports at a lower price, right? So right now, we're in a state where though these big businesses, bottom line, their market capitalization rate on the market, on the stock market, their net worth, right, is actually predicated on how we respond to the data that the news, the Trump administration, the Biden administration all present to us. Are we going to start withdrawing our money out of all of our 401ks and mutual funds? Are we going to stop shopping? Are we going to stop paying our bills? Like, basically, businesses are on the edge, and they normally use a lot of scientific data, okay, to really try to predict our response to each election and to unforeseen circumstances. So they always do test it. Okay, well, if Trump come into office, what do we assume such and such response will be, or what this community response will be, right? So right now, because there is a lot of uncertainty, they are unsure as to their positioning. And here's why. So you guys want to grab your pen and paper. Based on tax laws, right? If you go to any Fortune 500 financial statements, right, you're going to see an estimated projected amount of taxes. And if you notice, when Obama was in office, the amount was higher. When the transitioning, when Trump came into office and they were pivoting, if you look at the notes in these corporations' financial statements, it will say, due to the change in the administration and the positive savings and taxes, we are able to do XYZ. Because we were able to save $50 million in taxes, we now can do XYZ. So guess what? A lot of these businesses have a little amount of taxes bumped on their little books right now because Trump was in office and gave them a lot of tax benefits and tax write-offs that they took advantage of because they hired accountants and found loopholes, just like you guys can do too. The issue is this. If Biden plan come in and completely disrupt everything, that means their financial statements are inaccurate, and their projections that they're made or the investments that they've made predicated on now. And every time we start talking some stuff, they crash my video or something else. Every time. So this is the issue. Each big corporation adjusts their estimates based on the proposed tax rates, based on the proposed tax laws. And because there's a lot of uncertainty, they don't know who's going to get accepted, well, who's going to be elected. And normally, we re-elect the president that was in office. But because the polls ratings are inconsistent, they're inaccurate, corporations don't know what data is right, they cannot predict. As the CEO of the company, you are supposed to be monitoring everything that is a strength, weakness, opportunity, or threat to your company. And an election is a threat to your policy, okay? A threat to your product, a threat to your research and development, a threat to your net income, a threat to your taxes due. So here's the reason why these companies are coming together, saying that if they don't get their ish together with this election and put out accurate information and stop playing games, then there's going to be a lot of major business disruptions because we're not going to know what to do, what adjustments to make, or anything. So right now, all of these Fortune 500 companies are uncertain as to, okay, that tax liability that we had on the books from last year for 30 million, if Biden coming to office, it's going to be projected to be 70 million. All right, so that means we're not going to be able to get our bonuses, Bob. We're not going to be able to do this, Jim. We're not going to do that. So that's really the reason why the election impacts every aspect of the business ecosystem. And they really need the certainty, and they need to be able to predict who is coming into office. And no one is able to predict. Okay. And the problem is the fact that it's just too far winged. It's just too much going on. The pandemic, we mailing ballots. You know, Biden not really talking about the black agenda, but because people don't want Trump, they just automatically go with Biden. Like, it's just too much uncertainty. So really, and I'm going to drop this gem for Biden. If you really want to make some change, then you have to understand that you have to incentivize our businesses to come back. That was one thing Trump did that I really approved of. He is incentivizing our big corporations. I would rather for us to get $1 trillion, right, than to get nothing. So instead of having Apple build their plants, have their manufacturing plants in China, Trump is trying to convince them to bring it here. We need that. So what Biden need to do is take those little things that Trump been doing right, incorporate that into his plan, add that wealth plan, reduce that $400,000 tax increase, and find some other ways for us to drum up some revenue here in the U.S. and be creative and start cleaning up things, because we are accumulating debt after debt after debt, year after year after year. No one is doing anything but brushing it under the rug for the next administration to say it's their problem. And right now, that needs to stop. And the only way that will stop, guys, if we hold everybody accountable. So the corporations are doing their part. They're coming together saying, hey, we cannot predict 2021's taxes. We cannot predict how much income I'm going to be able to pay out in 2021. And there's a lot of uncertainty about our business environment. We need y'all to clean house. The same way they're asking for them to clean house, we need to clean house, but they're asking for bigger reasons too. Not only because of the color, you know, the racial slurs and all of that stuff. They're asking because if Trump continue to keep playing and the other administration feed into it, right, then we as the American people are left with uncertainty. So with that being said, the analysts cannot predict our spending. So they don't know what the impact on the gross domestic product. Remember, we're consuming country. They can't predict the data, guys. And they're pissed. And that's why, and this is why they're coming together and want a clean house. And so you as an individual, you have to really figure out how to clean house too. And really start understanding how change is necessarily made. So we need, if Biden was to get elected, to incorporate legislation that's going to help the Black community specifically. We need him to start helping us get access to better product and exposure to better supply so we could build businesses. I think this election and these last few elections have just been shameful, because who has really got anything out of anything but tax savings? Like, honestly, nobody has really benefited from anything but tax savings. So while the rich is banding together saying they're tired of this shit, you guys have to do the same thing and figure out who is really spitting the truth. Don't worry about 50-cent polls. Don't worry about Yahoo. Focus on who is going to make change for your community. And it really starts with your delegates and the politicians in your community. It's not about really Trump and Biden. It's about the people that we elect on a lower level. Start talking to your community delegates, guys. Start making phone calls and say why our community don't have XYZ. Knock on their doors, go to their location, do what you need to do, send your letters, start making phone calls. And that's when a change is going to come. It's not going to come waiting for Biden to come and save a hole, because he can't. He still got to go through Congress. That's the problem with Obama. Still had to go through Congress. Trump too. Still got to go through Congress, guys. So until we get Congress out of there, until we get some people that really want to incorporate a Black agenda and really build equality and reduce economic economic equity, then guess what? We got to focus on ourselves, build our businesses, and make money and build generational wealth. Guys, that was our show for today. I hope that you guys enjoyed the show. If you did, go to ripradionetwork.com so you can see the replays. After about 24 hours, they're not there. But go to my Instagram, and then you can go to our page or go to Amazon or any other platform. We'll be there as well. And guys, don't forget, join our mailing list by going to bit.ly/TMZ, all caps, get notified, and look out for what we have coming out in store and all of our guests coming on the show, guys. Tonight was amazing. I hope that you guys learned a lot, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye, y'all. Good night.